So, update day or update time. Go away, flies. Got those little mini flies that do my head in. So, quick update for you guys and gals. We have received more memory today. I managed to get some really cheap Crucial memory. Actually, I could probably show you. Excuse the laundry. I've been doing washing. I'm always washing. Every single day I wash clothes and hang them to dry, especially during the winter time. There's not a great deal I can do in terms of obviously trying to air the clothes out. So I tend to hang them on stuff and stick them on doors and stuff and things like that. Anyway, so we went and got some Crucial memory here, 8GB stick of DDR4 3200 memory in order to try in the system, because like I've said, if you haven't seen the previous videos, basically I've had a problem with my computer. It clicked, turned off. This is the outer shell of the computer, you can see here. I don't know why it turned off. It just clicked and turned off. Since then I've not been able to get it to work. I assumed it was the motherboard. So I reordered a brand new motherboard, which was the Strix Gaming 2, which is an upgrade to the previous motherboard in there, the B450. I'll tell you a really weird thing as well in a moment about the B450, the old one. So yeah, I've been trying to test everything. I've been testing clearing the BIOS, taking the battery out to clear CMOS and all that. I've taken out graphics cards, put other graphics cards in. All the graphics cards receive power and do turn on. The spans do spin, apparently. The fans do spin on graphics cards, but there's been a weird problem. Now I've got memory and I put memory in. Memory is also powered on, especially the RGB ones. The Viper I can't check because the Viper doesn't have, they don't actually have lights on them, so they don't make bright color or anything. So there's only a couple of offenders. So I've got a spare power supply. I put that power supply in. The small 650 watt does spin. The big one, the big power supply, kind of spins for just a brief second and then it stops. But I've seen some people say that some power supplies don't always spin, they do stop. If they're not under load, they tend to not keep spinning. It's only if they're under load that they start to spin. So potentially the power supply could be okay, possibly, but I'm not 100% sure on that. However, I've changed everything I can think of. I've changed now the memory, and the memory doesn't work. I've changed the GPUs over, and I know the other GPUs should be working, so GPUs don't work, are not working in the system. The motherboard, this is the weirdest one, is the motherboard, the LED should light up. There should be an LED that lights up to say, it's like a debugger LED, and it's supposed to light up to let you know if it's red, if it's orange, so on and so forth. That's not lighting up at all. There seems to be nothing to that, even though the board is powering up. The board seems to have lights on it, and obviously the board is making the card, or well, it's not making the card as such because that's coming from the power supply, but the motherboard seems to have some life to it, and the CPUs were getting a bit warm to the touch, so they were working as well. So they were heating up while I was doing my quick on and off tests with the other things to see if we can get a post. However, the LEDs on the motherboard weren't lighting up at all, which didn't make sense, because generally you would think they would light up, because obviously that's to tell me if there's any issues or if there's any problems with the motherboard. So I don't know if that motherboard is just a dud motherboard or something else, but it doesn't seem to want to work. You can put whatever in and it just doesn't do anything. I've checked the motherboard over, and there doesn't seem to be any issues, any problems or anything. So I really don't know why that motherboard isn't doing anything at all. It just seems to light up, but there's no BIOS. So I'm not too sure what that is. So after trying in the memory and everything, I've come to the conclusion it's either the power supply, the CPU, or the motherboard is bricked. And when they've done the motherboard and they've sent it to me, the motherboard is being bricked. Or for some weird reason, because I was getting no power to USB on it. And generally motherboards will give you power to USB, and I wasn't getting no LED lights, so it just doesn't make sense that that won't work. But yet, graphics card, the memory and stuff are lighting up, so they're receiving power, but yet it just wasn't doing anything else, and the CPUs were getting warm. So I just assumed it was possibly down to memory, possibly, because I had to swap out everything that was previously in the computer just to obviously rule out that it was any part of the old system when the computer clicked. Because it could be that there was a power failure to the power supply, and that caused a potential surge, and that surge could have damaged other components inside the computer, and that could be the reason why the computer did what it did. So I don't know. I really don't know. I've tried everything I can think of. I'm plugging everything into the right places. I bought some more thermal paste as well today, as well as the memory. So I've spent nearly everything I can, and I am going to struggle this month really badly. But for the sake of just trying to get things to work, I've just prayed. I've just literally just prayed that it would just work and turn back on. So, but yeah, it's been an absolute nightmare. So I don't know what else to suggest. So the plan at the moment is I've gone through to Amazon. I spoke to Amazon because especially like the 5950X has a 3-year warranty on it, but obviously it's still under warranty because I got it quite recently from them. So I've had to do a couple of things I don't want to do. Number one, I'm going to have to return my 5950X to Amazon. That'll at least give me back the £500 I paid for that. They said they're going to put it on as an Amazon credit, so that'll go onto my Amazon. So I can't, it's not money to me, but it'll be money on my account, so I can use that to buy more parts. I'm going to be returning the Viper memory. I think they said they could do that now. And I'm going to be returning, obviously, the Gaming 2 motherboard because it's not working. And I'm also returning the power supply, the other power supply. So 4 items I'm going to be returning to Amazon tomorrow. So I'm going to go down to Royal Mail. One's being picked up from here. The other couple I can take down, and you've got like a QR code. They scan the code, and that allows them then to return that item, and then that'll get refunded to my account. But I'm going to try and see if I can get it funded to the Amazon account, because then they'll get returned quicker. Within 2 to 4 hours, you could end up with the Amazon funds in the Amazon account, and then I just need to reorder parts that will then replace the parts I've lost. So there's a couple of ways I can do this. I'm going to have a look to see if it's possible. But as you all know, I already have another motherboard, which is the one that's upstairs, the one that I didn't send back, the AM5 and DDR5 motherboard, which is upstairs. So what I'm considering doing is sending these items back. I'll have to probably phone Amazon to get them to change, because I think a couple of them said that it was going to put into my account, but that can take 5 to 7 days, I think it is, for it to be sent. So I'm going to ask them to change that and just put it into the Amazon account. So I should have best part of nearly £1,000 or something of that region-ish in order to replace the parts. So what I'm going to consider to do, because I know already I could get a stick of 16 gig DDR5 memory for £40. I know the other thing I can get for 200, the CPU, because I won't need a what you call it, a fan, because I've got an AIO cooler already, which will work with the AM5. I've got that up, well, in the computer here. You can see it here in the computer. Look, the AIO is here, and the front here is where the thing is. So I've got that. I just need the memory I need to buy, the CPU I need to buy. I've already got that, and the new power supply. And they're the 3 items I need. Possibly if I can squeeze in, I might even consider getting a brand new case just to be sure that case is not causing the issue as well. If after that all of them fail and none of them work, then I will be shocked, because it'll be a completely brand new board, completely brand new CPU, completely brand new memory. There's absolutely no way that they should not work when I get them. And like I said, I may even try a new case just in case, and a new power supply. But I have to wait for them to refund that. So I'm assuming that'll be like 2 to 4 hours after I take it back to Royal Mail, which will be obviously first thing in the morning. As soon as Rio's gone to school, I'll go down there, take them down and drop them off. And then one of them is due for pickup, so that'll probably take a bit longer, which is the power supply, I think it is. They've got to come and get. So that'll be sent. So I've got to print off a label for that. I'm going to have to try and hope that the printer upstairs prints off stuff so I can print off a label. And yeah, that's about it. And then just hope and pray from there. And it's been one of the wildest weeks I've ever had. I have never had a situation where I've not been able to explain why. Because generally CPU, a motherboard is pretty easy to diagnose where the problem is. Because generally the motherboard will blink at you and say orange, or it'll be red. Red generally, if it doesn't pass BIOS. Orange is generally memory or CPU. I think there's a yellow one, I'm not too sure what that one is. I think red is BIOS, orange is memory or CPU. Is there another one? White? I know there's a white light, but I'm not sure which one that is. Anyway, all boards have different colours, so I could be sending them out of order, but yeah. You get the gist anyway, that the motherboard should be lighting up and giving me a diagnostic of what the problem is. The only other issue it could be, and I'm praying it's not, is the GPU. But like I said, I've tried in more than one GPU, and there's no way all my GPUs could be broken. No chance. At least one of them would work. And you've seen the old ones, because I had the old Gigabyte in before, when I had to have it in because we didn't have a GPU, because I literally had to use that GPU as temporary just to turn the computer on, because I didn't have any way of turning the computer on without it. So yeah, that was the thing I had to face. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll give it a bash, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it works. Well, it will work with the new one, but it's just going to take time is what I'm trying to say. My head's so all over the place with all the bull crap I've had to put it with. So, yeah, so sometime next week or the week after, we should be back online. It's just I'm going to have to wait for the parts to come. And it may be that we may end up with the new AM5 DDR5 components in the computer in the new motherboard upstairs, and rocking AM5 and DDR5 from now on, and just see how we go with that and hope for the best. I'm hoping it's not the AIO, That's the only thing I haven't had a chance to check. But when I was taking the DDR4 apart and putting him into the new computer, one thing I did notice is that the USB from the master controller that comes with the AIO needs a USB port, and apparently the USB port, the USB, I don't know what the frequency is, but apparently it's the motherboard, or the B450 motherboard, apparently doesn't like certain USBs. It's got to be something like 3112 or something. It can't be any higher, otherwise it can cause damage to the motherboard. I don't think it would have been that, but at this point, I'm just questioning everything because I don't know. I really don't literally know. The fact that the motherboard didn't turn on in the beginning, and just to put in context, the new motherboard, the Gaming 2, I actually put into the PC and turned it on. So it's not like it's done it while it's been sat on the cardboard or anything like that, which is fine to do so because it's non-conductive. The box to the actual motherboard is non-conductive, so it won't cause any damage. And many other people do it, and I've done it in the past as well, where you just put it on the box and you just turn it on. Jay's 2 cents and all that, I've done it as well, and just plugged it in, and then obviously seen if it'll work. I don't think it's because I haven't got the motherboard. I haven't put the fan on top of the motherboard because it should still light up. I'm sure of it, but and I put the fan in the fan header, so that would, make the board think that the fan is connected to the board, to the motherboard or whatever, and then just briefly turn it on, see if there's any LEDs, and there's nothing. So I don't know. That's my only guess. But luckily, thank God, again to Amazon, that they are allowing me to return all these items, getting all that money back, and then obviously re-spending it on other components now to fix the computer, or maybe put in the AM5 and then see how we go. So for now, I apologize. There's nothing else I can do. Just going to be vlogs like this, and I might have to see what else I can do in the future to kind of cover for next week, or to see if there's anything I can do. I can only apologize and just hope and pray I can do something. If you do want to help though, please like this video, like the other videos. Help them to get out there and get more views to help fund to be able to fix or anything else in the future. But if that's one thing I could ask for, is just like this video, please. And I'll see you hopefully after next week. Bye for now.